evening and welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. This is a New Year's Day edition, if you will. We're talking the good, the bad, and the ugly. A look back at 2016 in the area's two largest parishes, Jefferson and Orleans. We have incoming Jefferson Parish Council Chairman Chris Roberts, a longtime member of the council, and incoming New Orleans City Council President, but a longtime member of the council, Jason Williams. Thank you all for being here, and first off, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Let's start off with the good in your parish. There was a lot that went on in New Orleans. What are some highlights of the good that happened in 2016 in New Orleans?
I think the biggest highlight would be settling the legacy judgments with regards to the police shootings. You were there on Monday. There was a prayer service. There was a press conference afterwards. I think it was the first of its kind, really, when you talk about a city, municipality apologizing to the victims of police misconduct or wrongful police shootings. And it's been happening so much throughout the country. To have the victims come together with the municipality, with the mayor, the city council, the police officers, the police chief, settle it financially, but also give it some closure and say that it was wrong so that we can move forward as a city. I think that was probably one of the biggest highlights of the year.
In the cases we're talking about, Glover, Robert, and Danziger, three cases that got national attention. $13.3 million handed out. It's going to be paid over 2 years to the relatives of those victims. Is that something the city can handle right now? I know you budgeted for it, but it's a pretty big dollar amount.
It's a huge dollar amount. We have to handle it. We have to deal with it. It's not something we could drag on. There are a lot of other judgments that we're working very hard to try to figure out a way to settle. Or not settle, but pay out. Settlements were reached a long time ago, but we had to take care of this. We have a new New Orleans Police Department, and so the only way that we can really move on and begin a new legacy of this new Orleans Police Department is to settle all that bad stuff that happened before and apologize for it. So it was important to get it done.
Chris, give us a highlight of Jefferson Parish. There were a lot of good things that happened in the parish during 2016.
Well, the city of Gretna, our municipalities have really flourished. Gretna is now a home port for a river cruise vessel that is going up and down the river. It was a project that we worked on with the state of Louisiana. The airport, which is really a regional project, but it's located in Jefferson Parish. The new airport is getting underway, which is an exciting thing, especially for an area that depends upon tourism as much as what we do. You look at the commercial development that has occurred along Veterans in several locations. Trader Joe's is open there. Along Manhattan, we continue to see development there at the West Side Shopping Center in Gretna too, and our levees. We continue to see fortified levees be built. There are new projects that are coming out every day, and I think the main thing that I would say that really was the highlight of the year for us is we got our millages renewed under a very tough scenario, given the circumstances that the parish faces right now. That the voters saw through that and really said, look, we got to put the best interest of the parish ahead.
You've been passionate about the millages. If you could talk about this, that includes parks, and people need to realize that if those wouldn't have passed, there's a chance that all the public parks in Jefferson Parish would have shut down or been left with no money.
That's absolutely correct. And I came up through the recreation system, so I know what it can do for youth. I witnessed it myself. My father coached. It gives us very constructive activities for young athletes to be able to participate in, and as a result of that, we see a reduced crime rate. And it's very, very important, and we were very happy to see the outcome of that.
Let's talk about the bad in both parishes. We had a lot of an uptick in crime, if you will. The murders in New Orleans are higher than they were last year, but we had a lot of tragic police officer incidents, including in Jefferson Parish as well, too. And let's touch on that. Is that something that everybody has to focus on heading into 2017, just to try to stop the gun violence?
We would be negligent if we didn't focus on it. I mean, just have a laser sharp focus on it. And I'm not just saying this because Chris and I are friends, but what he said is so true about investing in parks and recreation and things to really give children something to do, something to be, and give them a space to do it in. Because what you're doing is investing in people before they make tragic mistakes, right? Right now we've got a lot going on with the DA. We had to cut budgets in a lot of areas. We just finished our yearly budget for the upcoming year, and the DA is upset that his budget was cut. about
$600,000.
Right, which is not a lot of money, and given the size of his budget, and everybody had to do a little belt tightening. In fact, we gave him more money last year for a program that really never got off the ground. And so what Chris is talking about is a smart play, right? Crime doesn't know boundaries. Shooters don't know boundaries between parish lines. If we are investing in young people, then we can get a much better result. And so what we're trying to do now is sort of restructure what we're spending on to get better results to deal with gun violence.
Is that the same thing in Jefferson Parish? And I know Sheriff Newell Norman's put a big priority on this as well, too.
Absolutely, and just like New Orleans, we witnessed police incidences as well. We started off the year in January where a detective was shot, Stephen Arnold.
Part of a multi-jurisdictional task force, too.
Correct, and then over the course of the summer, David Michelle. And that kind of really shook everybody to the core. We have a very, very established law enforcement community in Jefferson. We have municipal departments that support the sheriff's office as well. So it's a little bit of different structure than what Orleans has, having one NOPD. But we see a lot of cooperation. That goes to say with NOPD in Jefferson Parish as well, because they've worked to share intelligence, they've worked to share information, and that's why you see situations where JPSO may be in Orleans Parish responding to a crime, working on a task force. But anytime you lose an officer or you have an officer wounded, it really shakes a community. And from the bad came good, too, because it was a tough time, a tough year for law enforcement, and they were able to see the appreciation that the community has for them. And just the response that came from the business community, that came from the public, was just overwhelming.
Let's get to the ugly, and I think this goes without saying. Your parish dealt with a scandal that was ugly involving the parish president. Would that be the definition if we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly? Is that the ugly from 2016 in Jefferson Parish?
I would have to say so, and I'm not saying that 2016 is a year that was just wasted. But when I sit here, Travers, and we talk about, okay, what can we point to in 2016 that we were able to start? New initiatives to get off the ground, to deal with some of our housing problems, our aging infrastructure. A lot of the focus and attention has been caught up in this situation here, and it's very hard to get past. I guess the other question remains, too, is have we seen the end of it? And that's a lot of what the speculation is now, too. So it's the recall offer is still underway. I have signed the recall. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's hypocritical to suggest that we pass a resolution asking the parish president to resign, but yet you don't go and sign the recall effort yourself. That's the answer to this right now. And I appreciate the fact that Mr. Yeni wants to serve. I appreciate the fact that he's got a career, but I think it's very hard to get past the cloud that's hanging over us, and will continue to do so until it's addressed.
We'll see how it plays out in 17. Jason, a big topic is the monuments right now in New Orleans. At the end of 15, the council voted to remove those monuments, the 4 Confederate-era monuments, but they're still up. A lot of people want to know when they're coming down and if they're even coming down. I know that obviously the wheels are in motion here. Is that something that people can expect to see in 2017?
Well, I can tell you that we went through a very open and transparent process so that everybody, regardless of your viewpoint, it was heard, you had an opportunity to be heard. There was a vote. The vote was for them to come down. That now is in the judicial system. And as a lawyer, as a former judge, I can tell you that you've got to respect the judicial process. If you want to do something the right way, you've got to make sure that it's legally sound and it stands up. And that's where it is now. We have to honor the decision-making of the folks in the robes at this point.
Real quickly, before we finish up, we'll start with you, Chris, and then go with you, Jason. Looking forward to 2017, what is on the horizon in Jefferson Parish as we look forward to a new year?
Well, the good thing is that coastal restoration money is going to start flowing at a significant rate. Back when Congress, with the assistance of Senators Landrieu and Vitter, who were in office at the time, passed the Offshore Oil and Gas Royalty Act in Congress, basically allowing for additional drilling in the Gulf. We're now going to see Go Mesa money. We've got funds that are going to be coming in to assist with coastal restoration that did not exist before. It's going to be reoccurring revenue. So we should be able to make a substantial step in addressing our coastal restoration issues. And that's something that we've been waiting on since Hurricane Katrina. This is the first year the money's going to start flowing into the state and then to us. And I might add, too, when you look back in 2016, one of the other things is we all settled our BP claims.
Right.
That was a huge a shot in the arm for our areas to address some of the challenges that we faced during the spill in 2010.
And real quickly, Jason, before we wrap up, looking forward in 2017, a lot of big sporting events coming to the city of New Orleans, which are good and good for the region. Real quickly, what's on the horizon in 2017?
Always exciting.
Besides elections this fall.
Right. Well, that's a big deal. But I tell you this: the World Trade Center getting out of the court process, now being able to move forward and break ground, that's going to transform our riverfront. And I think it's going to also encourage a lot of other major developers throughout the world to come and take a good look at New Orleans. You're going to see a lot of robust movement. We've got the expansion of the streetcar down the St. Claude corridor, which means it's going to be reaching every part of our community. So I think you're going to see a lot of economic growth, but you're going to see it reaching every single neighborhood in the city so everybody can benefit from it.
All right. New Orleans City Councilman Jason Williams, Jefferson Parish Councilman Chris Roberts. That is it for the hot seat. Happy New Year, and let's send it back to you at the news desk.